ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And a good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome in. Matt Musso alongside Mario Jerez to my right. We have your early line, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp on the audio board and video boards, respectively. Jam-packed Tuesday show as always. Mario, we have Tuesday night college football tonight just down the road in Lafayette. The Fun Belt takes center stage with a rivalry game, App State and the Raging Cajuns. That'll be on ESPN tonight. Get into that game a little bit. And also with Rafael Esparza. He'll join us at 2:30 as he normally does on Tuesdays. Tyler Moody will be around to break down all the MLB playoff action. White Sox, Astros, 1-0. The White Sox leading that game right now. Houston up in the series, 2-1. Fantasy football thought of the day, New Orleans Saints, they're on their bye. As we said, plenty to get to. Mario, how are you?
I'm awesome, Musso. As I told you before the show, looking forward to Sunday. Always have work obligations. It'll be really nice to watch 7 hours of commercial-free football. And then Saturday as well. A lot of people have been complaining about the 11 a.m. kickoff, but I'm excited to call the LSU game, get that out the way, and then enjoy the rest of the slate of college football, which looks like it'll be really entertaining on Saturday again. So doing very well, man. Unfortunately, the season's kind of flying by here. I mean, we're already week 7 in college football, week 6 in the NFL, but you know what they say about what happens when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, time flies. And it seems like college football always flies by. And look, man, considering what's going on with LSU, many people are hoping that it flies by.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about the line on the game a little bit yesterday and how it was just fluctuating drastically already, and that's continued today. So to catch you up, the LSU-Florida line opened Florida -11 in Tiger Stadium. Yesterday when we were on the air, Mario, it was Florida -9, 9.5, so some money came in on LSU, and today it's already fluctuated back a full point to Florida -10.5. That's just about everywhere you look. So I think there's a couple different reasons why that obviously could have happened. Number one, the injury to Kayshon Boutte. That announcement being made public that he's out for the year. I know he's a wide receiver and he's not a quarterback, so you can't really expect him to maybe impact the line like a quarterback would. But Kayshon Boutte was LSU's most dynamic player on offense. He was the biggest threat, leading tied for the lead in the country in receiving touchdowns. He's out for the year. I think that causes extra money to come in on Florida. And then, obviously, of course, the giant black cloud hanging over the program that is, everyone knows you're going to fire your head coach. It's just a matter of when and what type of distraction that plays, I think also contributes. And we're going to ask Rafael about it, but those are the two obvious, elephant in the room to why so much early action on that line and so drastic to where it can move 2 points and then a point in 3 days.
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll continue. And if you can catch LSU, honestly, less than 10 points here, it might be a good play to make on the Florida Gators side. But I guess the only flip side of that argument would be, Florida last year was catching LSU in a very similar spot when all the chips were down. They were losing guys left and right, and maybe not the coach was getting ready to be fired, but there was a lot of instability and a lot of questions around the program, and Florida did not come to play that day, and obviously they lost the game outright. And last week, Florida did not look very good in the first half against Vanderbilt, out to a 21-0 lead, although they couldn't get very much going on offense. And their defense, although they tightened up in the red area of the field, they kind of gave up a lot of yards, did Todd Grantham's group. So Florida's a team that has a lot of talent. We talked about their defense during media days. Carter along the defensive line. Jones has been playing really well in spots. Also, Richardson, the backup, is really talented if he's able to get some PT. So Florida should definitely be the favorites in this game. All kinds of questions surrounding the LSU Tigers, which will make this line continue to fluctuate. But again, Florida was in a similar spot last year, and the Tigers won outright. So I guess if you want to make any argument in favor of LSU, that would be it.
That would be it. Now, I know, Mario, also we kind of talked about, and in keeping with the LSU-Florida game, yesterday, the biggest thing we want to look for is how the team kind of comes out, right? How they're ready, if they're ready to play with everything surrounding the program, whether it be injuries, whether it be Coach O or whatnot, whether it be an 11 a.m. kickoff in front of a half-full Tiger Stadium. Liam Shanahan met with the media earlier, as did a couple of other LSU players. But Liam was asked, second question out the gate. Well, actually, that's not true. I'm sorry. The first two questions are about the Red Sox. Liam's beloved Red Sox, who are going to the American League Championship Series.
Most fun I've ever seen Musso have cutting sound.
They asked him three questions about the Red Sox. I wanted to cut all of it and play all of it, but I didn't. So the third question for Liam Shanahan was about Coach O's job status and if it's a distraction for the team.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about that at all. That's not anything that I could control or any of my teammates can control. What we're focused on every week is just preparing for our opponent, which this week is Florida, and it's going to be a big game for us. Obviously it's been a tough start to the year for us. None of us wanted to be in the situation, but the only thing that we can do is keep fighting, and we have an opportunity to get a big win at home this week. So we got to do everything we can to get ready for it. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about that at all.
That's the most unfortunate part about this, right? Is instead of talking about LSU going to try and upset a top 20 team in the country, it's going to revolve around Coach O all week. And right, wrong, or different, that's just one of the things that makes it really tough to watch. That's what it's tough to watch somebody hang by a thread, knowing they're hanging by a thread and knowing that eventually that thread is going to be cut. And Liam said the right thing there, that we're not focused on that. And Coach O yesterday, when asked if he's going to address for the team, said no. But you hear it, and you can't totally block it out 100%.
No, they know it's coming. Dr. Karam, when they're teaching them the media training, kind of teaches them how to handle these exact kind of situations and these exact settings. And nobody's in the wrong here. That was a great job of the media, I thought, all week of kind of presenting those questions in a respectful manner. And that was a really good answer by Shanahan there. I think a little bit too much was made of Coach O's clapback, quote unquote, at Jatu set yesterday, Musso. To be honest, I mean, he did it with a smile. Obviously, he was frustrated, but it's not like he blew up and screamed at Jatu set, who, again, had to ask that question. It's his job, but it was very similar to a question that was asked before, so you could see how Coach O would get frustrated. But I'm with you completely. That's really upsetting, both for the coaching staff, who, Coach O has messed up recently, and he kind of deserves all the criticism that's coming his way. He totally deserves all the criticism that's come his way. But, he also brought a lot of joy to this fan base, and it still has to make you feel really bad to see him had to answer questions like that, to see his team had to answer questions like that. But I guess the only silver lining is eventually you will line up, you will play the game, and hopefully that's an escape, some kind of outlet to hopefully motivate LSU to play a little bit better. You still see a few positives on this team. As we said, still a little bit of talent, but all the chips are down. This week has been very sad. I'm sure at the end of the day, LSU is looking forward to going out and playing this game on Saturday. Let's see how it goes with everything the way it is, though.
So we'll keep an eye on that line as it continues to move. Right now, sits at Florida minus 10.5 on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. A couple other college football lines that we wanted to get to before we moved on. We said there's a game tonight, and it's just down the road, just down I-10 over there in Lafayette. The Raging Cajuns welcoming in Appalachian State. A little Fun Belt action for you on a Tuesday night. The Mountaineers, 4.5-point favorites as it sits. That one opened at about 3, moved to 5, now down to 4.5. ULL got the win in that game last year. It was their first win, I believe, ever over Appalachian State. They had lost the previous 8 meetings. Both teams 4-1. Both teams only lost to a ranked Power 5 team at the time. But there's a couple of interesting betting trends that we've come across, Mario, with that. Number one for me, Appalachian State, 10-1 against the spread when coming off of a bye. And you guessed it, they're coming off of a bye.
Yeah, both of these teams are, 4-1 on the season. All their goals as far as the Sun Belt still ahead of both teams. So this is a huge game for both UL and Appalachian State. Remember, Appalachian State almost dang near beat Miami on the road, which would have been a huge win. Narrow loss there, about 2 points. And then UL, as Hilly was saying, as we were walking into the studio to do the show, a lot of people thought that they had a chance to not just cover that spread, but potentially upset the Texas Longhorns in week 1. That didn't happen, and they've won every game since to get the 4-1, but they've kind of struggled along the way. Almost lost at home to South Alabama last week. Needed to stop a 2-point conversion in the second half to pull that one out, and they've kind of underperformed if we're keeping it real. But at the end of the day, all the goals at the beginning of the season for the Raging Cajuns are still there. This is a huge game for them, and objectively, Appalachian State has probably performed better in this game. But as we're about to kind of break down, the underdogs in this game have kind of come to play, and UL is at home inside of it's not the Cajun Dome anymore. or the basketball is the Cajun Dome, Cajun Field. So we'll see what kind of home field advantage that creates on a Tuesday night. But objectively, App State has been a little bit sharper on both sides of the ball tonight, hence the 4.5-point spread.
The Underdog has covered 4 of the past 5 meetings in that game as well. It's another trend to keep an eye on. One more before we get to break here. Alabama, they're coming off a loss. We told you yesterday, bet the Tide this week. Bet the Tide. Their last 5 regular season losses the next week, Alabama is 5-0 straight up and 5-0 against the spread. They're facing Mississippi State this weekend. That line opened at 15. It is now to 17. So many people thinking what we're thinking. Bet the Tide this week. Now, maybe wait and see how high that line eventually climbs, but you can get them at 17. I think Alabama rolls this week against Starkville. They're going to beat State by more than 17.
Yeah, and State's going to throw the ball a million times, and Alabama's going to be ready for it. And I feel really bad for Mississippi State's receivers because I think they have a hurting coming on this week. And as you said, that's not a spot you want to be in at all. Alabama coming off that tough loss. You know Saban's going to have those boys ready to play and probably play so very aggressively. So not a good spot for Mississippi State to be in.
Not a good spot at all. Alabama's going to come in pretty angry after dropping their first game of the season. We'll grab our what now?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. We'll grab our first break, come back. NFL talk, fantasy football, thought of the day. Saints on their bye week. Cody Parkey to IR. There's a lot to get into with the New Orleans Saints, even though there is a bye week. So stick around. Early line continues next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Mario and Musso, the early line. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to...
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Time to talk some NFL here on Early Line. The New Orleans Saints open as a 3-point underdog against their bye week. And obviously that's a joke, Musso, but I think it's appropriate given the state of the kickers on the New Orleans Saints so far this season. Cody Parkey on IR. Looks like they're going to bring in Brian Johnson, who was most recently an undrafted free agent with the Chicago Bears. But at this point, I think it might make sense to just wait it out until Willie Lutz can get back. He's eligible to return from injured reserve. We'll see if he actually plays against the Seattle Seahawks. But hopefully the kicking fortune improves for the New Orleans Saints.
Hopefully the kicking fortune improves for the entire NFL,
yes.
Mario. It's been a rough couple of weeks, man, for kickers. But I'm with you with Will Lutz. We have talked so much about the importance of Will Lutz that, I mean, it reminds me, do you remember, I don't remember what company this was, but it was a commercial, and it was joking, like, nobody knows who the kicker is until you need him. And it showed, like, a kicker making a game-winning field goal. That's just evident right now, and it applies extremely well to the New Orleans Saints, where you went through the Aldrich Rosas experiment. That did not work out. You went with Cody Parkey. He apparently hurt his groin in warm-ups, then missed 2 extra points in the game against the Washington football team. Now he's on IR. They bring in Brian Johnson. Ultimately, it's, man, get Will Lutz back on the field. You have a bye week. You have an extra week to figure it out. You really just hope that Willie Lutz is back out there against the Seahawks, and you put the rest of this to bed, because you know what you have in Will Lutz. And what you have in Will Lutz is an extremely reliable, extremely consistent kicker that is honestly a weapon for the New Orleans Saints.
Get well soon, Will Lutz and Mike Thomas, and several other players who we'll talk about later in the segment. But for now, for our fantasy football thought of the day, I want to talk about one Marquez Callaway, Musso, because we talked about him a lot from a fantasy football perspective going into the season and how he might be more productive with Michael Thomas not being in the lineup. That really did not come into fruition the first 2 games. Marquez Callaway almost a non-factor in the passing game. The first 2 games combined, he had 3 catches for 22 yards, but in the last 3 games, he's really stepped up fantasy-wise. Against the Patriots, 4 catches on 5 targets, 41 yards and 1 touchdown, 12.1 points in standard leagues, half PPR. Against the Giants the next week, was only targeted twice, but he caught both of his targets. One of them was a 50-plus yard bomb from Jameis Winston. He goes for 74 yards receiving, 8.4 points in standard leagues. And then last week against Washington, he has the best game of his NFL career. 4 catches on a season high, 8 targets, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns for 22.5 fantasy points. And I think Marquez Callaway is similar to like other Saints receivers throughout the years, Musso, in a fantasy football setting. Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham, others, they'll have games. I'm talking about when Michael Thomas gets back, where he produces. He makes some big plays, but the Saints like to spread the ball around so much. You saw them do that with Alvin Kamara this week, finally, that he might not be a very consistent fantasy option. And obviously, we all hope Michael Thomas is back for that next game against the Seattle Seahawks. But if you're looking for wide receiver depth, maybe like a 4 or 5, definitely consider picking up Marquez Callaway. And he's definitely not a start every week kind of wide receiver, but he can have games like he had on Sunday.
Even pick him up with Michael Thomas's impending return?
Again, trying to context of what you have on your team, but yes, I think so. I think he's going to be just as involved. I don't know if fantasy-wise he'll be like consistently productive, but he's going to be a huge part of the Saints offense move. So, I mean, right now as we speak, he's the second leading receiver on the Saints behind only Deontay Harris. Alvin Kamara finally up over 100 yards, close to 200. He's the Saints' third leading receiver, but Marquez Callaway is going to be heavily involved, man. Not just with Michael Thomas coming back, but with Traquan Smith being back as well. Again, I think he kind of gives you that threat down the field to take the top off of a defense, and he's also just a really, a really technically sound wide receiver. I mean, you saw the fundamentals that Sean Payton praised in the Hail Mary of him having good landmarks, him being able to go up and high point that football, and he's really strong off the line of scrimmage as well. I think he does a good job running his routes, getting open, and trying to do some of the stuff that Michael Thomas is better at. And when he's in, obviously he'll fill that role, and he'll, catch a lot of passes in short and intermediate area of the field, and that's going to open things up for Callaway, for Traquan Smith. But at the end of the day, I think as far as traditional wide receivers go, route running, being able to catch contested passes, Marquez Callaway is the second best receiver on this team behind Michael Thomas.
Before we move on from fantasy football, one question for you. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire lands on IR today. Who's a good pickup if you had Clyde on your roster?
Definitely consider getting the backup in Kansas City, Darrell Williams, his fellow LSU.
Yeah.
And I believe who's the running back they picked up? Used to play for the Vikings, Appalachian State, veteran running back. We'll have to fact check that. But either way, Williams is ahead of them on the depth chart. So definitely consider picking up Darrell Williams. Chuba Hubbard's been killing it for the Panthers lately, but some people might let him go with the return of Christian McCaffrey, and he'll maybe still put up some points in Carolina's offense. So we'll see. But either way, you feel really bad for Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's somebody else who's similar to Marquez Callaway, started kind of really slow from a fantasy perspective, and then has picked it up the last couple of weeks. So that's a big blow for Kansas City either way.
It is, man. It's a bummer for Clyde. It's 2 years in a row now, an injury has sidelined him. So we'll see if he can get back quickly.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be at least 3 weeks on IR, but see if he can get back, in that time frame.
Yeah.
After 3 weeks, be back out there.
Not good timing for the Chiefs either. I mean, we talk about them not being able to cover, but sitting at 2-3 with the Chargers in your division. The Raiders are going through some stuff, but they're ahead of you in the standings right now. Not a good time to be a Chiefs fan, and first time in a long time we can say that.
Yeah, that is true, man. They're 6.5-point favorites again this week. They're playing the NFC least, so we might back off the Chiefs a little bit this week.
Before we get to Raphael in the next segment, just want to talk a little bit about, the importance of that win against the football team last week. And we talked about this during last week's show on Friday, but this is worth mentioning. The Saints already activated several players off of injured reserve, and all these guys are eligible to come back. I'm sure at least like half of them or 2 to 3 of them will be back against Seattle. We're talking about Michael Thomas, Quan Alexander, Ken Crawley, Nick Vannett, Traquan Smith, Marcus Davenport, and Will Lutz. And Sean Payton was asked a couple weeks ago when this move was made, when they could realistically expect, most of these guys back. And coach said that hopefully in the next, call it 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have some guys gradually coming back. And as we said yesterday, you'd love to be 4-1, Musso, but looking at that list of all these guys that you've been missing and just taking into account all the context of the season, you've been missing coaches because of COVID, you've had to be away from home for a month, the first month of the season because of the hurricane. 3-2 is something that you will take as you go into the bye week, and you hopefully get at least some of these key guys back.
So I think when you look at the Saints and who they're going to get back, right, you can look at both sides of the ball, obviously. Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Nick Vannett. But for me, it's even more imperative defensively. Quan Alexander, now Pete Werner's done really well, right? He's progressed really nicely, led the team in tackles last week with 13, had a great week the week prior to that. But Quan Alexander just adds kind of that it's something different to your defense. We talked about it a lot when they were talking about re-signing Quan. It's okay if you do, he starts immediately. Like his progression from the recovery of the injury, it's ahead of schedule. He's there, he goes because he immediately makes your defense better, and ultimately that's what happened. Unfortunately, he landed on IR, but you get him back. It just it automatically makes your defense better. The relationship that he and Demario Davis have together in the middle of that Saints defense makes them one of the best linebacker tandems in the NFL. And then you look on the defensive line and you see Marcus Davenport. And the Saints pass rush has just been underwhelming this year. So if you bring back Marcus Davenport, who had a great preseason, who ended up getting a sack before he was sidelined to IR, you bring him back, does that also potentially finally free up Cam Jordan on the other side, which has been a huge narrative, the lack of production from Cam Jordan the last few years and the amount of double teams he's been drawing and the NFL's unwillingness to call holding last year. But if you bring back Davenport, what does that do for your pass rush? You bring back Quan Alexander. We already know what that does for DeMario Davis and the rest of the Saints defense.
That is a good point, man, because the pass rush the last really 2 or 3 weeks has been really struggling. And that's why it's that much more impressive what the secondary has done, led by Marshawn Lattimore, who's now getting mentioned as maybe the best cornerback in the NFL. But remember, 2 weeks ago, he left some plays out on the field. He's peeking on the backfield and let Saquon Barkley go for that uncontested touchdown. But he was big time last week. Marcus Williams was big time. PJ Williams has been a really underrated player in the Saints defense.
2 interceptions this year, I believe.
Yeah, and a sack fumble. He's somebody who Dennis Allen loves to bring in pressure, kind of the way he used to do with Von Bell. But PJ Williams doesn't get much credit. He's been playing really well in the secondary. And Chris Richard, I've said it a couple of times. I was a little bit worried with Glenn leaving to become Detroit Lions defensive coordinator, but Chris Richard in his first year as the Saints secondary coach has this unit balling, man. And as you said, getting Marcus Davenport back is going to be huge. He's that one player besides Onyemata who's also not in the lineup that can generate pressure just off of a bull rush.
Completely forgot about Onyemata.
Yeah, he's coming back too. And when you have those guys both in the interior of the defensive line, Cam now coming off the edge, you're going to get a lot more heat on the quarterback.
So I again, we could talk about the offense because there's some guys coming back there too, but I'm most interested to see the Saints defense because that's how they've been winning games the past 3 years is defense and a running game. Now, you saw him take the handcuffs off Jameis a little bit Sunday, and it was great to see. 279 yards, 30 attempts, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And the best part about it for me was the turnovers he had, he didn't let them beat him but twice. It was that one play, it flushed, go, decision-making, still number one, and he ultimately made plays to help you win that game. But when they get these guys back on defense after the bye, that's what I'm going to be most excited to see. And look, they'll be coming back to face a Russell Wilson-less Seattle.
That is true. Geno Smith versus the Saints. Looking forward to that. And yeah, I agree with you 100%, but I am just as excited for the offense too because Michael Thomas is really going to open things up on that side of the football. And as much as everybody said that the chains were kind of taken off of Jameis Winston this last game, season high 30 pass attempts, they're really going to take the chains off when number 13 is back in the lineup for New Orleans. Mario Jerez alongside Matt Musso here on a Tuesday edition of Early Line. We'll break and go out to Las Vegas to talk to Rafael Esparza of MyBookie.com, get his thoughts on the football slate, both in college and in the pros. You're listening to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is different.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury joins the show. We'll talk Saints with Larry Holder, and Feinswag talks beer. Join us Tuesday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're getting the early line with Mario and Musso on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on Early Line. It's a Tuesday at 2:30. Time to head out to Las Vegas. Talk to our guy Rafael Esparza from Doc Sports and MyBookie.ag. Odds maker out there. Rafael, how are you this week, my man?
I am doing good. How about yourself?
We're doing all right. We're navigating the waters here in a very busy news cycle in Baton Rouge.
Does Ed O want to maybe come to Vegas and coach the Raiders? He might be looking for a job.
I mean, he will definitely be looking for a job here at some point in the next few months, and the Raiders have an opening, so that maybe that's the fit. Who knows? What we do know is we have Tuesday night college football back tonight. A little down the road here from us in Lafayette. The Fun Belt takes center stage. App State 4.5-point favorites at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. The total set at 57. ULL gets the win last year. App State, though, 8-1 all time. 10-1 against the spread off a bye. Any late line movement expected here?
Maybe on a total. I mean, it's already moved almost 3 points. It opened up at 54.5, pretty much 57 across the board. I think that probably would go up maybe a half a point because anytime you have some Sunbelt action on a Tuesday night, there's always a lot of points being scored, especially when you're talking about an App State game. They just can put up 40 points in a blink of an eye every time they play. I would not be shocked if this total keeps on creeping up. I think the number will probably stay the same. I don't see that much action coming in. I mean, the total already moved a half a point. I don't see that much moving it. I would think the people would be betting the total and probably throwing some baseball games and some hockey games and parlays.
Rafael, as you know, and as you mentioned, tough times here in Baton Rouge, 3-3, unranked. Future of the program is uncertain. We're having jokes with our producer here, talking about how Kentucky's better than us in football now, but we're going to get you in basketball now because this is a basketball school. But all that being said, still got to play a game this Saturday, and already seeing plenty of action on the LSU-Florida line ahead of this Saturday. Opened at 11, was down to about 9 or 9.5 yesterday. Now back up to Florida minus 10.5 in most places. What are your thoughts on this game, and how much did the injury to star wide receiver Kayshon Boutte maybe impact this line?
That's a huge because their offense has been struggling, and I feel bad for the LSU seniors. Homecoming at a 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time game. This time was scheduled to be an evening game, and boy, the LSU struggles continue. I guess they want people in Baton Rouge to watch baseball at nighttime or something. But yeah, that's a kind of a disappointment at the time. I think Florida has to be the edge on it just because I think their defense is playing much better than LSU's defense. And I know they gave Vanderbilt the big goose egg last week, but that's Vanderbilt. But I was really impressed with how that held Kentucky. Even though they lost that game, their defense played really well. And that total was 57. That was nowhere to be even found when they played Kentucky. I like Florida's defense in this one. I'm just not sold on LSU at all. Offense, defense. I guess I just can maybe wait for baseball season in Baton Rouge to start because basketball season could be okay.
Hey, we're excited about both of those. I'll tell you that much. But a lot of people just want to talk about moving on from football entirely. But I do want to get one more in on LSU and the line. With so much action and kind of in each direction so far the first couple of days of the week, where do you see that line kind of settling around Saturday at 11 a.m.?
I would think it'll probably stay close to what it is now. Normally, a big game like this in the afternoon, if it's not a big, ranked game, you're not going to see much action. I think we'll probably get a lot of Florida action, and we'll just be begging for LSU action before kickoff. I would be shocked if we see drastic line movement on this one, just because of time. I mean, if this is a 2:30 CBS game, then the people who'll be losing all morning might be jumping in. I think we'll probably see 10.5 or 11. I would be shocked if we see anything different in those two numbers.
One last SEC game that I do want to ask you about, Raphael, and Ole Miss is coming off that win against Arkansas. I thought Arkansas was going to pull it out and break their hearts again like they did a few years ago when Henry did that lateral and they cost Ole Miss a chance at the division. But they're favored by 3 in this one at a Tennessee team that's been playing pretty well, especially offensively. The total opened at 79.5, and it's been bet up to 81 in some places. What do you think of this 3-point line for Ole Miss at the Tennessee Volunteers?
Yeah, can we put our heads down for the scoreboard operator? He's the one that's going to be working the hardest in this game. This total will probably be 82 when it's kicked off. Tennessee's been putting up 40-plus in a blink of an eye. We all know what Ole Miss can do on offense. This one's going to be a 1990s Tecmo Bowl, playing with your buddy, sneaking beers while your mom and dad are bowling type of game. It's going to be fun to watch. I have Ole Miss squeaking out a victory. Would not be shocked if they win by 6, but boy, both teams should hit the 40 mark.
One more college game before we move on to the NFL, Raphael, and we take us to the Big 12 here. Oklahoma State, number 12 in the country, quietly at 5-0 on the season, visiting the Texas Longhorns, coming off the heartbreaking loss in the Red River rivalry game. Texas laying 5.5 at home. Again, Oklahoma State quietly at 5-0. Are they ripe for the picking this weekend?
I think they are. I mean, it all depends on what's the mindset of Texas blowing that big lead. Instead of the fans cheering SEC, I think you should have been cheering like ACC or Sun Belt or AAC, because if they're going to play that defense against Oklahoma, there's going to be a very, very long headache in the SEC. But I think Texas rebounds. I'm not 100% sold on Oklahoma State yet, but if they win this game, boy, they're going to be skyrocketing. Because let's face it, the college football polls are just complete mess right now.
Rafael Esparza is our guest joining us from Las Vegas, mybookie.com, as we go to the NFL slate of things. And interesting week in Las Vegas, to say the least. Rafael, they were 5.5-point favorites at home against a rookie quarterback, and they were never really in that game as the Bears smoked them inside of Las Vegas. First of all, do you have any strong thoughts or feelings on the situation with John Gruden right now, and what impact does that situation have on this line? Right now, Raiders a 3.5-point underdog at the Denver Broncos this Sunday.
The only thing I can say about the Gruden thing is I tell my brother's kids and my sister's kids and everyone that has young kids or in sports or whatever, do not tweet and do not email if you don't want nothing to come out in your past, because they'll dig stuff now these days, 10, 15, 20 years. You could be a dumb 16-year-old tweeting out something or email something, and in your 30s, they'll come out and haunt you. That's all I can say about that. Just be very careful. At the time we live in, anything can be dug up in a computer and haunt you in your past. So it doesn't matter if it's 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years.
We have another game in London this week. And look, I mean, if the NFL is trying to expand this thing to this London, we do. The Dolphins and the Jaguars, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, our time here. Dolphins 3.5 points. I mean, look, you got the Jets and the Falcons in London last week. Now the Dolphins and the Jags. You'd think they'd send some better games over there, but my question is, what impact do the London games normally have on the line? And are there any common trends to look out for in those games that take place in London?
Well, first of all, how bad do we hate the people in England?
Right.
They give them those type of games to watch. And I'm just happy that the Premier League is playing at the same time as this game is going, because last week there was no Premier League, and I was force-fed to watch Atlanta and the Jets. But, I mean, normally in Vegas and stuff like that, you'll get a lot of midnight action before we close the books because people don't want to get up that early because it's 6:30 time, Vegas time for them to watch this game. But this game right here might get a little bit more action just because of the Urban Meyer situation. I think a lot of people think this is where Jacksonville can get their first W against a Dolphins team that's offense is struggling. I like the Jags plus the 3.5. If you're going to get your first win, why don't you get it out of the country and then come back and be heroes? So I like Jacksonville, but again, how bad do we hate the English for force feeding them to watch this junk?
Actually, they got the Jaguars for years and years and years before this. One more NFL game I want to ask you about, Raphael, and I'm a little bit surprised, despite what we saw last night. Excellent stuff from Lamar Jackson. The Ravens currently a 3-point favorite at home this Sunday against the LA Chargers, and the Chargers right now might be the hottest team in the NFL. They have really good players on both sides of the ball. Their coach is a young superstar who goes for it on fourth down, it seems, at the most opportune times. What do you think of this 3-point spread the Ravens favored over the Chargers this Sunday?
I was hoping maybe Baltimore wouldn't play it on Monday night because this would be a fantastic game. I hate playing teams that are coming off Monday night games, but Baltimore's just red hot, and it's when their offense is clicking because they're not just running the ball, they're passing the ball. And Lamar Jackson in the pocket looks brilliant. This is going to be a fantastic game, probably the best game, I believe, on Sunday. So I can't wait to watch this. I'm leaning towards Baltimore, but, man, this Chargers team is fun to watch on offense. I just don't think they can stop the rushing attack of Baltimore, especially in the second half.
Couple more minutes with Raphael Esparza. He joins us every Tuesday. Follow him on Twitter at VSI.Sports. We have a new betting favorite for MVP in the NFL, and that is Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. Bills rolling at 4-1. Dominated the Chiefs on Sunday night. Allen now ahead of the likes of Dak Prescott, ahead of Kyler Murray as well for the MVP race. Any thoughts on Allen and his candidacy? And not only that, also the Bills' chances to win the AFC.
I think the Bills' chances is probably to win the AFC, I would think right now the best bet. I wouldn't say MVP for it because I think what Lamar Jackson did last night was pretty impressive. So I would not be shocked if he starts getting a lot of love. But I think Buffalo to win AFC is probably the best. Dak Prescott to win the MVP. I think he's going to be overshadowed by the Cowboys defense, who's all of a sudden starts to play. I mean, it's not because Dallas is winning offense, but they're winning on their rushing. Their running attack has just been brilliant. And their defense, I think that's going to hurt Dak Prescott. But I think right now MVP is going to be between Allen and Jackson. Right now, I'm leaning towards Jackson right now because what I saw last night was pretty fun to watch.
He is Raphael Esparza, DocSports.com, MyBookie.ag. Follow him on Twitter at VSI.Sports. What's your best wacky odds of the week here that you got? Any entertainment odds to shout out?
I'm posting what will John Gruden do next? Host a podcast, work for Fox News, TV analyst, WWE analysis, TV game show. So those will be out probably in the next, I would think, half hour. I'm going to say WWE analysis. He would fit perfect with them.
Gruden in the WWE would be he's right. That'd be a perfect fit.
You don't think AEW has a better chance to land him, Raphael? Aren't they rolling right now?
He has to work for WWE, then get fired, then the AEW will pick him up.
That seems how it's going these days. Raphael, we always appreciate your time, my man. Talk to you next week.
Take it easy, guys. Have a great week.
Absolutely. Raphael Esparza joins us every Tuesday at 2:30. DocSports.com and MyBookie.ag. Grab a break, come back, talk to Tyler Moody, MLB playoffs. The Astros currently with a 2-1 lead over the White Sox. That game's in the top of the fourth, and it'll stay 2-1 as a ground out to first with the runner on third. Puts the first out on the board. Tyler Moody breaks it down. We'll get thoughts on Braves, Brewers, and Dodgers, Giants as well. Stick around. That's next on Early Line, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Early Line, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings? Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
It's week 7 in the prep football season, and we get you started Friday night with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And then starting at 10 o'clock, it's a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Major League Baseball playoffs roll on today. The Astros lead the White Sox 3-1 in the top of the 4th inning. Still got the Brewers at the Atlanta Braves coming up tonight at 4:15. Atlanta leads that series 2-1. And then the Giants at the LA Dodgers later on tonight. The Giants lead that series 2-1. Joining us now to break it all down, as he does every day, is Tyler Moody of the Demon Sports Network. Tyler, how are you?
Hey, boys, doing pretty good today. Sitting here watching this Astros game right now. Kyle Tucker is having a heck of a series. homered a couple times. He just singled and then stole second and third with nobody out and came around to score. The Astros just have this amazing lineup, and then you add in Kyle Tucker, really add him in this season. He's been a great boon for the offense as well. They're so loaded offensively and fun to watch.
They are, man. That 0-2 pitch to Correa a little earlier, that was a mistake, to say the least. You don't want to ever give that guy anything to hit 2 strikes anyway, but to throw the ball right down the middle in 0-2 is just kind of a bad choice. Bad choice.
It's a bad location for sure. Me and my buddies were just talking about how good Correa is in the postseason. It's like he turns it up a notch. He is a clutch player. And I'll tell you what, if I was a team this offseason in need of a shortstop, I would throw a ton of money at Carlos Correa personally.
I think the Astros are going to be one of those teams who look to do that. So the Astros, the White Sox, that's a game of importance. The Red Sox closed out the Rays last night, 6-5 in Fenway, advancing to their 7th ALCS since 2003. The Sox saw their World Series odds climb from plus 1,200 before the wild card, now anywhere plus 400 to plus 380. The aforementioned Houston Astros are the current betting favorite, while the Brewers have the longest odds to win the Fall Classic. Your thoughts on our latest round of World Series odds?
I've been pretty adamant that I think the Astros are going to be the team that comes out of the American League. They're potentially on their way to eliminating the White Sox right now. I think the Red Sox are a very good matchup for Houston, in fact. But you can't sleep on that Red Sox lineup. With Chris Sale back now, you do have an ace that you can turn to. You're assuming you have an ace you can turn to if everything's good with Sale. So that'll be a very fun ALCS if the Red Sox do end up coming through here. And I think they probably will the Astros come through. I think they'll find a way to close this series out. So for me, Houston is my favorite. They have been going into the postseason. I'll stick with that. But on the other side, the Dodgers are in a position where they may get eliminated tonight if they don't show up and finally hit the baseball.
All right. The Braves lead the series 2-1 against the Brewers, as previously mentioned. Do you have any other plays on that game?
Well, I was just trying to look. They have suddenly locked the lines, at least on my Barstool app. That's what I generally use. I don't know if they're making some kind of change. Maybe they decided to roll Corbin Burns out there. I like the Brewers big time if they elect to go with Corbin Burns, but I don't think he's going to be the guy. It looked like Lauer was going to get the start. Lauer, the lefty. So if I was going to make a play in this game, it would probably be Jorge Soler to homer off of a left-hander. He rocks left-handed pitching. It's what he's been known for quite a while. It looks like he is currently I'm trying to find his odds. They have suddenly moved everything around here. But Jorge Soler to homer tonight would be my play against the left-hander Lauer.
And what about the nightcap? Giants-Dodgers. Giants lead that series 2-1. Anthony DeSclafani versus Walker Buehler on the side for the Dodgers in that one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dodgers in this game. Dodgers -1.5. I took them last night as well. I know they got shut down, but Buehler's on the hill, and I think this Dodgers offense will wake up, man. They've spent so much money on this offense, and they've been really good throughout the course of the year. I think they'll wake up. I think they'll hit DeSclafani. I love Buehler. He's just electric in the postseason usually. So I like the Dodgers to continue this series and send it to a Game 5. I'm going Dodgers -1.5 in that game.
All right. Tyler likes Dodgers -1.5 versus San Francisco. He also likes Jorge Soler to homer in Braves Brewers. Tyler, it's been a great October of baseball. Looking forward to continuing to break it down with you here on Early Line.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Hey, congratulations, the Red Sox moving through to the ALCS, boys.
Yeah, they're going to move through to the World Series too. I was letting you go with the Astros there, but it's going to happen. It's fine. We're feeling it, Tyler. We're feeling good.
For sure. I feel you guys. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Later, man.
All right, Tyler. Wrapping up a Tuesday show here on Early Line. I wanted to get to these Lamar Jackson stats moves, so we did not have time to during the NFL segment.
This is nuts.
Yeah, makes history on Monday night. He's the first QB in the league to complete 85% of his passes in a 400-yard game. Also the first NFL player ever with 400 yards passing, 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions, and 50 yards rushing. He also had the highest completion rate in a 40-pass game in NFL history. He completed 86% of his passes, 37 out of 43.
And he has more total offensive yards than 18 NFL teams.
He's coming into his own. That's scary, including the New Orleans Saints, one of those 18.
That's so stupid.
AFR coming up next here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.